This is the seasonal collection with Eclectic Elements Holidays Past. This is a Christmas collection. It's a big one, I gotta say. I love how this collection turned out simply because I'm all about nostalgia. I'm all about the throwback vibe to really the most magical time of the year. There are some great botanical elements, a lot of ephemera stuff that you would have seen if you are a fan of ideology and you've seen it. We'll talk about the designs. There are 14 designs in quilting cotton. This would just be the traditional cotton fabric. There is also a 108-inch quilt back, which I'll talk about that. That's digitally printed. All the other stuff is screened. There's also canvas cloth and flannel. Pretty amazing, right? Okay, so these are the designs in here, but I'd rather show them to you just kind of on the table because I have them here. I'll flip through them and kind of keep them in order. What's really wonderful about designing fabric is that we really have the opportunity to play with pattern, with scale, with repeat, and not only capture the aesthetic of what I like to bring into the design space, but applying it to fabric, I think, even makes it more unique. So I'm just going to peel this layer back and just talk about this first design. It's a wonderful collage design. It has a very stained, almost like an antique linen stain to it that you can see. It's got all of these great holiday botanicals, some tickets, a little bit of calendar, some labels, some postcards in the back, and then you can see all of this tape. Now, again, if you are familiar with the ideology line, it's no surprise about the cello tape that we came out with this year and my love and Paula's love for that stained tape. And what's really fun about this is that we were able to keep that in this collection. And I think that brought a whole different vibe to Holidays Past because you typically don't see stained sellotape on fabric, and I think that's what gives it an extra little oomph in when it comes to the charm. So we've got this wonderful collage. There's actually 3 collage designs in this collection. Then you can see the music. Now this music is really, and you'll see the patterns more close up. I mean the designs when you see the makes, because I'll hold the makes a lot closer. This I'm just going to keep as the background. But even on all of this vintage holiday music, I love the handwritten. You're going to see some great handwritten typography in this one, but also all of that stained tape. Fabulous. So shout out to Jenna for keeping it. Then we've got some small little ditzy prints. And again, we kept that tape almost like gift wrap. And I think when you use it, you're going to be pleasantly surprised of the detail that it adds to your make, really. Then we've got this great minty stripe. Again, we've got the tape, and the tape they're all different scales, different colorations, and I just love that. We've got this beautiful poinsettia. This one is so nice. All the different colors of poinsettia, and again, you're going to see the tape in different places. This one, this is a favorite. It's like a toile. It is a toile, but it's also like a calendar-ish. This art was originally from vintage cards and also a vintage calendar that Paula found, but I did these vintage cards also as stamps. You might look at some of this design and go, oh, that kind of looks like some stamps. Yeah, I use these for Stampers Anonymous. So those vintage Christmas scenes we put into the fabric, and I just love it. This one has, doesn't really have the tape, but it's got some really great staining in here. And the thing to know about Eclectic Elements, it is intentionally stained. The imperfections I want to keep in the designs, and that's why on the Salvage Edge we mentioned that as well. Here's the next collage. Take a look at this one. So this one you'll see doesn't really have that antique linen wash. Completely different design. Some great ephemera, some holiday party invitations, little season tickets, and again some holiday postcards, some botanicals, these great little labels. And I love all this kind of minty stripe. It almost looks like washi tape, but they're really little elements from a frame. I love this little check. Some people, it's just this wonderful little gingham. I love this black and white. This, you can also see little bits of tape. See those stains just really, it adds something to them, doesn't it? This one, you know, I'm all about simple and stripes sometimes. We talked about this when we did the laboratory collection and we had that orange and black. I just love this one. This is kind of like an old feed sack kind of stripe that's in it. And I know in the fabric world, they have all of these specific descriptions for stripes, but I really wanted to keep these wide stripes. You'll see in the makes that it really does look like heavyweight linen, but it isn't. It's just that we were able to keep that design and texture in this particular print, and I just love the dark cherry green and kind of cherry red and evergreen stripes that we kept in this one. Then we have this. Again, you've seen it in ephemera, you may have seen it in stamps, but I also really, really love this scout guide. This came from an old scout guide, and it has all of the different botanical elements for different trees and pine cones and pine boughs. It's just such a cool, unique one, but all of these illustrations are hand-drawn, so I think it gives it such a cool aesthetic and vibe. This one, I think, is definitely a favorite in a lot of makes. Again, it's all about scale. These are different poinsettias than this one. It's a much smaller print, but in the background, it's actually over the top of a ledger. So up close, and again, you'll see in the makes, there is all of that wonderful detailed handwriting and the lines of a ledger. Absolutely cool fabric, but also it's all about scale, having balance of small prints and large. I just love this one. This one, funny little story. This design came from a vintage tin that Paula has, and we scanned in the tin, and we've used it for a lot of different things. We've manipulated it. We even did a vintage lunch tin in Ideology. I was so happy to see this plaid come into the line. I found my own tin actually just this week. So I found it online from someone in Canada. So I'm excited to get that. I've loved this plaid. And so just having it in like the vintage authentic form is just so incredibly cool to have it. And we do so many different things with, you would be surprised of like how small that little design was. And then of course, Chris is able to replicate it and create a repeat. And then we've used it for many different things. And we often tweak the colorways as well, which is nice. These little clippings, so great. This is a sticker book in Ideology, but so fun. So just like we have the clippings in Laboratory, we also did the Christmas version. So these have so many different wonderful Christmas sentiments, words, greetings that you could use on a card, stitch into a quilt or a fabric make. These all came from vintage books that Paula went and clipped out, but there's so many great elements, and I just love all the little words and details. And the coloration in this particular fabric is really right from the vintage book as well. So that's why you'll notice all the different tones of the papers, because we kept it as is. And then of course the final collage, really one of my favorites, because of course it incorporates that little snippet of plaid, but there's plaid, game cards, pine cones. Pine definitely has more of a woodland lumber vibe, because we have some different ledgers from lumber yards or lumber tags that you've seen in Ideology as well. Some little juniper and juniper berries. So absolutely love the designs in Holidays Past. So these are the quilting cottons. Then when I mentioned 108, and this of course is speaking to the quilter. So this is a 108-inch wide cotton quilt back. And what we did is actually, and I say we, but that's really Jenna, we took the elements from this collage, and this collage, and recollaged. So we actually created so it's not just like, stamping a print. She actually created a whole new collage using all of the elements to create this this is already folded in half, because when this opens up, it's 108 inches wide for quilt backs, large projects. So it was really exciting to be able to offer a quilt back for this seasonal release. So this again is quilting cotton. This is a digital print, so we were able to get away with a lot of different colors and layers. Absolutely cool. There's a lot of elements. So yeah, if you're looking for, hey, I just want to do, you don't want to go in piece and quilt, just get 108 and put it back to back and you're set. Just do some stitching, which you'll see some ideas, because you can actually go in and quilt over these elements if you want. But yeah, then it would be done. So that's another option. I love the fact that this is very collaged. So you could just use it as is and be done if you don't want to do any piecing. That would be more my jam. All right. Then we're going to get into the substrates. So I'll talk about the substrates. The substrates are really different kind of fabrics. Okay. We introduced substrates when we talked about Embark and we did canvas cloth, and then last year's Christmas collection was all flannel. So it's nice that we're able to mix it up this year. Canvas cloth is a heavier weight than quilting cotton. It is canvas, so you have that kind of texture, but it's not like heavyweight canvas like you would do boat sails with, okay? But it is a canvas cloth. It's still very flexible. You can do all types of projects with it. And it's really nice, especially for home decor things like pillows or tablecloths or any of that. Oh, Paula just said a 108 would make a great tablecloth. Absolutely right. Then we have the flannel. Now the flannel is very soft and very fuzzy. And when you see the designs we did in flannel, it's probably going to blow your mind the way it did mine. I'm like, how are we able to print such detail on something so fuzzy, right? Crazy, okay? So there are 3 designs of canvas cloth, 6 of flannel, pulled from the actual quilting cotton, but often the scales are adjusted to meet with the substrate. So just be mindful if you are shopping and you are looking for fabric, just kind of be aware of what you're purchasing depending on what you want, right? Because again, you'll see the designs, there are crossovers in the designs, and you just want to make sure that, okay, I'm getting this in cotton that I want, or I'm getting canvas cloth, or I'm getting flannel, okay? So first we're going to talk about the canvas cloth. Now, the canvas cloth, these are the 3 designs, no surprise there. This collage, and this collage. So we did all 3 collages on canvas cloth. Those are the only 3 designs we did. I just love it. So I'm just going to hold this up just so you can see. So canvas cloth, you can see you're able to really get that texture, that linen in there. It is a much heavier weight, so this is perfect for home decor. But you can use it for all different types of, even if you're doing journal covers or makes, you can still incorporate this, especially if you love this heavier texture. I just love canvas cloth. That's totally my jam. So, of course, we did that collage. This, of course, is that stain collage. And now that I can hold it close, you'll see just what I mean. You see the staining that we left in there? All of that great water staining. Anywhere that it was, whether it was here, whether it was along that tape, anywhere along that edge, we just kept it. And that's why this one definitely has more of, you can see that linen, almost beigey yellow tone compared to the other 2 collages. So keep that in mind as well, that it's not like match, match, match. This was toned down in that quilt back because we wanted everything to flow. But I wanted to have, you know, more of that warmer vintage vibe, at least in one of the collages, if you wanted that. And all the elements are different. So I don't want you to think it's a colorway, because it isn't. It's completely different elements in the collage. And then we have this one. Again, I love all of the different music, because this was more about, see, the annual Christmas frolic or the different parties. Just really a lot of fun. See that National Academy of Design season ticket. I just loved all the details. It's so wild to see stuff that, of course, many of you might be familiar with in the world of ideology, and seeing it on something so, I don't know, so movable, so tactile. I will never not be amazed by seeing art on a different substrate. So, for example, this one, let's see how many screens this has. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 screens. So when we say screens, that means that this fabric is run through 18 times to lay down different colors each time. Isn't that crazy? And that's what is so wonderful about working with Free Spirit, is that they're, you know, we have several years under our belt, but they're not intimidated by all of these colors. You know, that's the whole idea. When you look at something with all this staining and tonality, a lot of times that gets stripped away first thing, because it would be so many screens to do for the design. But we do it, and we do it like amazingly well. So those are the 3 SKUs of canvas cloth. Now we're going to get into the flannels, and really the flannels, they are so warm and cozy. So of course, first up is the plaid. You saw that in Mario's PJs, but this does have that wonderful, it's so soft. That's all I could tell you. It's such a wonderful soft flannel. Same thing, screen. So when you see the detail on this, and you see that it's screened on the flannel, it is wild, especially when you're able to get all of those little lines, that same detail on a flannel. Then we have this design. I told you about that whole, see, you can see the soft fuzzy texture of that. But I mean, look at the detail. Insane. The tree bark, the pine cones, even the little pine needles on flannel. Come on. That's crazy. Yeah, I did say, like, if I was going to get PJs, like, I would totally want this. I love this one. It's just a great design. Absolutely love it.
I can vouch for it.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
So comfortable.
It is. It's so
warm.
It's so soft and comfy and warm.
Super
for sure.
soft.
Yeah, because we had PJs. So if you look at the Christmas live from last year's collection, Wonderland, we had full-on PJs, button up, and I was cooking in them. So that's why I had to do a different shirt for this one. Look at this design. And a lot of times you would look and be like, well, gosh, that's just simple and that's just basic. Yes and yes, but it still makes a great flannel. So you can't argue with that. That great little check. I love that. Take a look at this one. When I saw it, honestly, I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't. I couldn't believe the depth of color on these poinsettias on this flannel. The reds, the pinks, the coral, even that staining underneath, and look at all of the greens and that blue kind of juniper. I mean, this is just, you just want to have it just to look at it. This fabric was, I was blown away. Because I mean, I get detail, and I get when we're talking about, you know, a plaid or even something like that, because we're talking about typography or line work. But this is all about shading and the ability to have these colors and have these beautiful shaded, blended colors. That's amazing on flannel, right? Beautiful. Then we have a couple of small prints. So we went with the minty stripe. And on the flannels, we did take away that yellow tape that we had on here. It just didn't translate well when it came to flannel. We still kept the vintage vibe, but on this one, the tape just wasn't looking like it did on cotton. It didn't look like tape at all. It actually looked like an imperfection. So I think that was something we needed to fix with this, and I'm glad we did. So, because you need just a minty stripe and then just a small little print. There's the detail of that. So you've got those little berries and those little leaves. Beautiful. So those are the 6 flannel. So nice, right? So nice with all of that wonderful, fuzzy goodness. All right. So the thing to know about fabric, and if you're a fabric user, then great. You can just be like, yep, I know. But there's a lot of people, especially me, that I need to hear it again and again to remember how fabric comes. So typically if you went into a store, you would know what you needed based on what you were creating, and you're talking about yardage and all of that. I'll never forget when I went to my first market and the phenomenon of a fat quarter. Now, I didn't really get it. I'll be honest, I didn't understand it. And I remember saying to Paula, what's up with people? Because literally they would come in the booth, and we had fat quarters even from the first collection, and they would pick up a fat quarter bundle and they would just do this as they're talking. So they're just having a full conversation and just doing this. I'm like, what are they doing? She's like, oh, you don't understand. Here's what you need to know about fat quarters. The nice thing about fat quarters is that typically when you get a fat quarter bundle, you're getting a fat quarter of the collection. So many shops will create these. These actually came from Simon Says Stamp. Simon Says Stamp, they not only sell yardage now, which was really great. So a shout out to all the stores that are really supporting Eclectic Elements in new ways. There's a lot of papercraft stores I mentioned, Art from the Heart in the UK, Frank Garcia. But Simon Says Stamp, they started selling yardage, especially with Laboratory. But then many places will either do pre-cuts themselves or bring in pre-cuts like Simon Says did. And the nice thing about fat quarters, like I said, is that you just get every single design and you get a cut of it. Now, the difference between a fat quarter and just a quarter yard, if you got a quarter yard, if you just went into a fabric shop and you're like, I'd like a quarter yard. Because the fabric is 44 inches wide, you would have a piece that's 9 by 44. So you're talking like 9 and then 44. When they do a fat quarter, they cut it different. So even though it's still a quarter of a yard, the cut is actually 18 by 22. So it's like, instead of it being long, you're getting that fatter part of the design. So you're getting not quite a square, but pretty close to that. And that just allows for completely different types of making. So back to these again, quilting cotton, canvas cloth, and of course flannel. But this is just an option. And I like to talk about that because really it took me, sad to say, but it took me many years to even understand what a fat quarter meant. I knew what they were called and I knew they were little squares of this, but now as a maker, this is my jam. So I would take a fat quarter all day long over yardage just because of how I make, because I'm not going to be making anything large where I would need yardage, because I'm not going to do a quilt or a tote or anything like that. So just know as a maker, this is a great option because you are going to get an 18 by 22 inch piece of fabric, and that could be a journal cover. It can do a lot of different things. All right. So those are the pre-cuts. I'm just going to set those over here. I absolutely love that. And Simon Says sent those to me. So shout out to Heidi at Simon Says. I'm like, because Free Spirit doesn't always launch fat quarters with a release. So that would mean either the shop needs to cut them themselves or the shop would have to special order fat quarters, which Simon Says did. So that's also something to know, that not every collection automatically comes out with one. All right. Okay, we're going to get into the make. So a shout out to the makers. Like I said, the makers, they do such a great job. and they do so many different things. Many of them just create on their own. Others will actually use patterns. They will be sharing on social media in the coming days, probably even up to the season. And keep in mind that if there is a pattern, they'll always mention it. So, but if they just did it themselves, it doesn't mean that they're going to create a pattern, okay? So this first one, I just wanted to start out with this one. So sorry about that, Richele. This isn't actually a make for live. This was just a nice thank you card that Richele sent to us with her fabric makes. And I just thought it was so cool. So I'm going to start with that just because I wanted to show from card maker to any card makers out there that are watching. We just did Sizzix last Saturday, and I thought this was such a great connection point of you want to get into fabric, you don't really know, you don't really know how to use a sewing machine well, but maybe you have one, or because really you can get sewing machines very inexpensive from a lot of different places. But I love the idea of how you can just create a background, you can create a quilted background, put it on a card, use all of your favorite cardstocks, your favorite die cuts and all that. And to me, this changes up the card 1,000%. It does. It just makes it completely different, because when you look at something like this, it's just different than paper. Doesn't mean you couldn't, replicate something with paper, but that is something so tactile, and the fact that the card is squishy and sewn and wonderful, and you've got all those little threads. So even if you just want to start out, that's just a great thing to do, is just be like, okay, I'm going to cut pieces. There's different types of batting out there. You can use, warm and natural. There's foam. Paula, told me about that foam last live. There's a lot of different ways that you can make a card puffy, and it's still mailable, but then it gives you just a different outlet. So I just wanted to share that because I thought it was a great connection from a die cut user onto a card. So thanks for that, Richele. It's very sweet. I don't want to get into that much detail. Now we'll carry on. We'll keep going. These next two cards, Stacy created these. Beautiful little patchwork. So I love how she went in and did just little squares of fabric, created this little patchwork. I love the little ziggity zaggity stitch. I love that little pinked edge. But then right here, this is what we're talking about. Remember when I talked about the clippings, this fabric and all those little sentiments? There you go. You just cut out those and you can put them on cards. You can put them on tags. You can do all of those things. So even if you didn't want to create this 100% out of fabric, and let's say, oh, you know what, I'm going to do the back out of paper. Just imagine taking little samples of fabric, little snippets, maybe from your fat quarters, and then cutting this out and actually doing the sentiments out of fabric. I just think that's a great touch. I also love how she added some buttons, a little bit of lace. But yeah, these are cards. A great idea for cards. And I always like to start fabric lives, if this is your first one and you're rolling your eyes like, seriously, we're into cards, this is fabric. I love to show from a card maker perspective into quick gifts, cutesy stuff, but then we're going to get on to bags and pillows and totes and quilts and all. We will get into that. But I think it's important for all levels that you can see the possibility of fabric. It's very eye-opening, and to me, it just has a completely different aesthetic than paper. So I absolutely love these cards, Stacy. I think they're really beautiful. I love just all the stitching, and I really like, she sews how I would. She sews a lot better than I do, but this would be like my jam, where I just go off-road and you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. Beautiful. Fun cards. Stacy also created this card. So there again, you can take something and let's say, for example, she made this cute little stocking out of fabric and put it on a card. So if you're creating something, and maybe this is just going to be a gift, maybe this is an ornament, and it's a great way to present an ornament where you stitch something, again, a stocking, or maybe it was just a die cut holly leaf or whatever you wanted, put it on a card, but it can also act as an ornament where the recipient can take it off the card, hang it on the tree. But I love the little details, the stamping and texture paste in the back, but that charming little stocking, see the collage fabrics for the win, then a little bit of ribbon, a little tag. It's cute, right? Cute little stocking. You could do so much, and I think, the more you give yourself that creative freedom, the more fun you'll have with stockings, with cards, with bags. It does. Every time I do this, I'm like, Mario, I want to sew. He's like, yep, when you get time, you'll do that. So around the holiday season, it is important as a maker, and I talk about this really in every live that I do, but it's no different when it comes to fabric, that you can create gifts that are very unique and very handmade and very special to the recipient. So Stacy created this little set of coasters. I thought it was, I mean, you can do these as solids, so you could just take this collage and cut them and make coasters. You don't have to do all the piecing. But I love the fact that you could take, if you had a certain block that you like, quilt block, you can make just coasters. And that's what she did. And I think that that's a great gift to give to someone, especially if they're using it, you know, for hot chocolate, and maybe you're going to put this in with some hot chocolate or coffee or something. So your makes could be as simple as you want or as time consuming as you want them to be. Just remember, no idea is too simple, because from a handmade perspective, I just love the detail of that. All right, we'll keep going. Stacy also created these. It's not the Stacy show, but when things make sense together, I group them together. So that's what I wanted to do. And Stacy did these as well. I'm a fan of this type of bag, this whole little, you know, drawstring. You can do so many things. Like this one fits a bottle of wine, which I absolutely love the idea of that. I love all the detail that she used with all the different fabrics, that little word, because again, when you cinch that, you've got all the words at the top, then you've got the poinsettias there, and you've got that check. But even inside, I mean, see, that's the magic of fabric. It's just so cool. So in there, you can see all the music, see that little bit of tape. It just gives such a great detail. And then the tiny poinsettias with that ledger as a string. There we have the collage, and then she just used the coordinating plaid from that collage for the top part of the bag. So again, very clever, a great way to present a gift, but then they have that fabric bag. I think it's really cool how all of these work. And that's the other interesting thing about fabric, more importantly, eclectic elements. I mean, typically in a fabric world, they have a lot of colorways and scale that a collection works together. And my collections from day one have just been eclectic, where you're like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm like, isn't that great? Right? Like, to me, it's perfectly imperfect. That's what I absolutely love about these collections. So great little bags. Great job, Stacy. So next we're going to talk about, this is a make that Patty did. Now Patty is Paula's sister. Patty does not have any social media. She's on social, but she doesn't have any Instagram accounts or anything. So Paula will typically share Patty's makes on her social. I always try to slow down because Paula, Patty, I want to be, so Patricia is her name that we would put on the blog. And I'll mention that as well. After the live, all of these makes that I'm going to share with you will be on timholtz.com. There will be a fabric post, and you'll be able to see thumbnails of all the makes. This way, if a make is shared, there will be a link there throughout the season that you can go and check them out. So I think that's really cool. So Patty created this. This was just an idea, again, another way to do gift giving. But this idea has a lot of different opportunities. So this is really a cover for her Kindle. So you could do a Kindle cover, but it could also be a book cover. So you could do a pocket and you could put a book in there if you want, but you could also use it like from an art supply aspect. You can do it this way, and you can put in, you know, maybe some sewing notions, whatever. And I love how she just did the little block and did all the quilting on there and had this little strap. So even something like that, heck, you can even make placemats. If you didn't want to have the pocket on the inside, that's the potential of fabric. It could be a bazillion things just when you're starting to make it. You don't need to have a specific plan. If you start doing blocks together, you can create whatever you want as you're going around. And then I just love how she did that tiny little poinsettia for the binding going all the way around that. See that little detail, the corners, and just the mix of fabrics. So keep that in mind if you are a more experienced sewer and you wanted to kind of create with this, that it could definitely be like, okay, well, what do I want to do? Well, just start putting some blocks together, and you can decide based on size, like, oh, it's going to be for their iPad, or oh, it's just going to be, well, however the recipient wants to use it. But I do love the idea of, you know, these fabric ties as well, just like Stacy did on the bag. So love it. Good job, Patty. Just fun. There's so many different makes. So then on the quirky side, I always like a little quirky, and, you know, a shout out to Tami B, because she's always up for the quirky challenge. She did cats. Take a look at these cute little owls. I mean, come on. Let me bring up these. Look at these three. Come on. How cute are those? So Little owls, look at the little stick feet. Oh my gosh, see that little tape? Isn't that great? Tape on fabric. It's just, when you see it, it's wild. But I love how she just took this great little simple design where you've got that folded over, and she's got that for the beak of the owl, the quirky little button eyes, and they're just stuffed, little stuffies, but I think they're fun just as a little cluster because they can go on a table, they can sit on a mantle, and this is where you can kind of have a little creative play and do just some fun things. She also used a little stick here, but you could leave it as is because the fold of that fabric just kind of turns into the point. You can do something out of felt. You can really make whatever you want to create. You don't have to do the little twiggy feet if you don't want to, but I just thought the idea was very cute. These could also be made small and just used as ornaments. So if you know someone, just to put a little holiday owl in their tree, just cute. So I always love the whimsy side of makes as well, because I think makes could be all different styles and all different skill levels. Very cute, Tami. Here's another cute one. You may have seen these. I mean, I remember seeing these through the years in like a country sampler magazine, kind of dating myself, but I always loved just a little stuffed candy canes. But this, I think, really shows that wonderful stripe fabric that I told you I love. Look at the detail of that. That's what I was saying. See that great linen that's printed in there? Because again, this is quilting cotton for that stripe, but it has such I think just a more textured look because of how we were able to create that in the stripes. We've got all the little details of that tiny print, and then she just tied it together, put a little bit of faux green, but look at those candy canes. Cute, right? And again, these candy canes, I mean, I know this is a tough inside out one. I have made a candy cane once. I did this in home ec. I remember that because I was like, how are we supposed to turn this thing inside out? That is impossible. And then we had some weird little grabber tool, but I think they're cute. They're really fun. And the ideas for this, that is what it's all about. That is what it's all about. I agree, Lori. It was a great magazine. I loved it. I love getting inspiration. So cute make with the little candy canes. But speaking of cute, brace yourselves, people. Come on. Look at this. Look at this little frosty. First of all, look at that top hat that she made. So how cute. It's weighted on the bottom, but I love how she took, see that toile? Love that. Love it for a snowman because it's still, you typically wouldn't see the print, but I think it works really well. I also love the plaid, little button for the little jacket he's got, the scarf. Look at that little nose. And just how charming is that? I love how he's holding onto his hat like it's a little blustery day. How cute is that little snowman? Oh my gosh. Very, very cute. I do believe this is a pattern as well, so I think it's really, really great. I saw a question, please let us get this toile as a stamp. It is. It was actually released several years ago. It's a great stamp set. But isn't he cute? He's so fun. I love the idea of that when it, just seeing it, because I think, yeah, she did another snowman, and I think she did it out of just white fabric or maybe even white felt. But I love just, I don't know, the uniqueness of that. Just seeing that little design in there. It's really, really cute. I think that's so fun. And I also love how she adorned him, but it's that plaid coat. See? Now maybe I just want a plaid coat too. I love this plaid. I do. I think it's really good. But that hat, Paula and I were talking about it. Just love how she created that. So yeah, he sits up. Cute. Cute make. All right. Love it. Oh, see, thanks, Tami B. She said she will link the pattern today. Just so charming. Love him. Great makes. All right. Another make from Tami B. Take a look at this. All right, so we talk about fabric, we talk about the crossover with fabric and paper crafts and die cuts. Take a look at this beautiful wreath that Tami B made. And I heard she created it with her mom, so shout out to Tami B's mom as well for working with her on this. So here, Tami has the fabric and she's got it on what seems like a paper backing, so definitely has some paper on the back, and used a couple of different Sizzix Bigs dies to cut it. Now you can also cut fabric with thin dies. It just might take a couple of passes. Definitely cardstock behind fabric certainly helps. But then I love these little berries. She said she just did like little yo-yos and created these little berries. But this is where you take your favorite fabrics. There's a lot of different heat and bond, fusibles, stabilizers, all those things that you can do, or you could adhere it, of course, to paper. use your dyes, use your inks, ink around the edge, and just put it on a wreath base. Just take a grapevine wreath and add that. But isn't that wonderful? And I love, again, that big bow that she did out of the plaid. But this is something that you could just sit down and go, okay, well, I'm not going to do a lot of sewing. And even if you didn't want to finish off this bow like Tami did and sew it, you can certainly, go in with glue if you want, or tape or anything. But I really love the idea because it is all about home deck and creating different handmade holiday inspirations. But if you have dyes in fabric, that's really good. Absolutely love that. So cool. Love it. All right. So many different whimsy makes, right? So wait till you see this one. This one's just like, come on. Okay. So when we were talking about makes for the season, I was talking to Paula, we definitely talked about stockings. And I'm like, I want little stockings. I think stockings are cute. We've had quilted stockings in the past that Richele has done. So definitely check out previous lives for, I think, the Wonderland collection. There was one. But you saw that card that Stacy did at the beginning, and I think that got her and Paula just creating incredible ideas like this one. So first we're just going to talk about these straps, just using all of that holiday clipping just to create these. But what this is actually a garland. Yep, I saw. Is that a garland? Okay, stop it. Seriously. But here's the best. So this garland has all different stockings, right? Couple different sizes. You can see some are big and some are small. But I love how they're all attached with big vintage buttons, so you can remove them. So what's really cute is that you could display this, but it could also be something that you can switch out. Switch out meaning on these bigger ones, these bigger stockings, because like I said, there are two sizes. The bigger stockings will actually hold a gift card. So imagine you have family coming over or friends or, office party, or someone that has a family that celebrates all together for the holidays. This is a great gift for them because this is a way that they could do gift cards for everybody. I think that's really cute and really clever. But of course, in their true style, they look at that one. See, I just want to put the gift card in here because like that's one I'll just want to keep for myself. Look at that. Just look at that placement of that plaid. All right. As if this idea wasn't cute enough, take a look at these. Come on. Look at these little mittens and look, see what I mean about the tape? These little mittens also fit gift cards. And the great thing is you can do stockings or you can also put on the mittens. So you can just take that and, isn't this a clever idea? It's such a clever idea. So you can take these little mittens and you can just put those on. If I can just button, I'm trying to button through my phone. I'm just gonna, I need to look a little closer. Look at that. So now you could have stockings and mittens and hang those up. You can do, and you don't have to do gift cards, but I thought that was really clever that she did it in such a size that you could certainly add gift cards, and it makes for the coolest decor. I love this idea. Because there again, if you were a sewer and you had guests coming over, you're like, oh, take it's like a house gift. They come over to a party, you're like, oh, take your little stocking, and they get, a coffee on you the next day, and they get to keep that little stocking or that mitten for a gift. I think that's great. It fits candy, but it also fits a C's gift card. So it could fit all the candy you could dream up in this little stocking, believe it or not. I think that's really great. So again, holiday parties, neighbor gifts, office, or just for yourself, where, just treat this as your own little gift giving calendar. Hang this in your craft room, and every day, just take one of these down and pull out a gift card of wherever you're going to go shop and enjoy the season for yourself. No shame in that. Ask Mario. I love gift cards.
You do.
I love gift cards for myself because I'll just tell you this.
Go ahead.
I always think gift cards are free money, and I know they're not, right? But I told you, my brain is like a 5-year-old. So I feel like if I bought a gift card and I didn't use it right away, when I go to use it, it's free. It didn't cost me any money. And Mario's like, but you bought it. I'm like, that was then. That money's spent. Now when I'm spending the gift card, it would be free. So that would be, right? That's just the way my brain works. But
now we
yeah.
just keep you loaded up with gift
I love gift cards. They're a lot of fun. All right. Great make, isn't it? So cute. Really, the button idea, come on. It's so cute.
Stacy really
So
killed that.
she did. I just love that. And even these, Like, look, like some of them are just, you know, where she used the fabric design. Some she actually went in and just did all the little piecing. I mean, there's so many different details in each one of these there. And just the folds, I mean, the amount of time and work, I love all of these. They're so cute. They are. Yeah, tiny lights. I mean, I see the chat just going with ideas. That's what lives are all about. It's about saying like, you know what? My first thing, I'm gonna make a stocking. I'm gonna just try that. And I think that's great. Or I'm gonna do a little mitten. Yeah, great. Love it. Yeah, Tim Math for the win. I'm telling you, my way of thinking is, it's really good. You just, because the money is long spent and it doesn't really matter. All right, take a look. See, he's still laughing. He's like, but you spent it. I'm like, let's not have this conversation again. It's free. So Paula created this. Take a look at this beauty. Now it's big. So when we switch cameras, I'll hold it up in completion. But this is a wonderful countdown to Christmas, Advent. Look at this beautiful. Look at this beautiful make that Paula did. So there is a dowel that you could hang up, or you could use a vintage hanger. But I'll just kind of go into each row. I love the pockets that she created. And then she did these little cards that are stamped on paper and then sewn around the edge. So it just gives such a great little cohesive balance to it. And look at a couple little pockets have just little details, like a little ideology. So these are confection. So these are done out of clay. So they're super flexible. So see, you can just pin them onto your makes because it makes for a great little adornment. But look at all of these little cards. So this could be something where you have a message, you have a gift, but look at how well those fabrics just pair with the collage. Oh, see, Paula, I'm messing it up. I'm going to tip out all the cards. See, and just that's like a little bell, little ideology bell. But just how great these fabrics are for a make like this, all the different parts and pieces. And this could be something, again, all of the different elements where it comes into play, where your cards could be something that you created. This could be a collage. This could be little greeting cards that you wanted to do. I love the creativity behind this, and I love the detail. And then look how Paula went in with one of the ideology layers and just did that wreath around 25. So just a great little countdown to Christmas. Isn't that beautiful? I love all the fabrics that you chose. It's just a lot of work, a lot of piecing, but isn't that just, it's fun. So I appreciate Paula for taking this on, because I'm like, we really need some sort of calendar, Advent, countdown, just like come up with something. And she's like, okay. So I think you came up with a beautiful, beautiful make, because it is very inspiring, because you could use this, of course, year after year. But you could also, if you like to sew and you're a card maker, you can, yeah, I see already. You guys are thinking, Barb's already thinking my thing, 25 days of gift cards. You load it up now, and then in December, it's all free. See, that's the beauty. I just think it's great. Love the detail of that.
I need one of those.
This one?
Yeah,
it's so good.
Keep
Yeah.
it filled up.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. But really, it's just the fabric choices and all the little elements that she has. Like, here's a little, Paula will share a lot of details, but that's what I love. It's just like little surprises. So see, there's a little tiny tag with the star. I love, this is a stamp set. So this is a Stampers Anonymous number stamp set. So these are stamped. So if you're looking for a great number stamp set, there's that too. Isn't that great? Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I know. Gosh, I'll hold this up. So I'll keep this one kind of aside, Mario. So I'll hold this up when I do the quilt. Just want to fold it. All right. I'm amazing. I'll hand you that for now. Thank you. Okay. Moving on. We're going to keep going and create. I love seeing the chat. It's great. So this is a table runner that Patty created. I love that star pattern on there. Look at how the fabrics just work so well. I mean, the beauty of Holidays Past is that wonderful nostalgic vibe, but just the colors, it's so red and green, but all the different elements, it just gives, it can have a country vibe, it can have a nostalgic vibe, a homespun vibe, even a little bit of a modern vibe, I think. So I do love that. And I always love just the quilting on that. So take a look at the back, using all of those clippings. And then you have just that design on the front with the plaid. See that tiny poinsettia is so cute. And I know this is a favorite. I mean, because really the detail of that, I'll hold it up. I mean, look at that little holiday scene. Look at that. you believe that? Screened. It's so cool. And all of that little staining, that little detail, that is part of the design. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, I want it to look nostalgic, so let me stain it. No, it's great. And then if you use it and it stains, it's just, it adds to the character. There's a little bit of that tape. See? It's kind of like old gift wrap. That was the whole reason I wanted to leave the tape on there. I'm like, it's just like, you know, you have old gift wrap or an old box, you've got that leftover tape. So beautiful runner that Patty created. Isn't that great? I love that. I love the offset of that too. I think that's really cool. Quilt patterns are, it's such a puzzle. It's so, yeah, it's such a puzzle to me, but man, so cool. All right, here is a tote that Patty created as well. And this is one of the things that when we were talking about the collection and different makes that I wanted to represent the collection, it was important to me that, you know, if you like to do a lot of piecing, be that a block or be that like a star or any quilt pattern, that's wonderful. But there's also something really valuable about the collages that we do in the collection, especially those three that I talked about, because it's just done. You just take the design and it's done. So this is done out of canvas cloth. So we've got that great heavier weight canvas cloth. So it makes a really good tote, great shopping bag. You can see it's lined. Look at that lining. Oh, come on. Can you not get over that stripe? So good. But having this in canvas cloth, it just makes more of a durable tote. It's gusseted at the bottom, but you've got the design just there. And you could do any detail. You can go in and do some top stitching. You can do some applique work. You can do a lot of different things to the design. But by having some of these options as a collage, you don't have to worry about doing all the piecing to create it. That's just an option. It's not to say that you can't do that, but it's just nice to know when it comes to creative options to have it. And I do agree. See the inside? Come on. That's so good. All the different elements. So yes, Patty created this bag. I love that. Love that we have some totes. Then if you watch the Laboratory Live last month, there was a bag that Richele did that was a huge hit. And so I asked her if she would do another one for Christmas. And this is doing reverse applique. She did one with the bats where she did a design, then she had a design in between the layers and then cut around that pattern to reveal the design. So I love that she did this tote with the Christmas tree in that reverse applique. So the front, all the great little patchwork squares. So good. Oh, look, pointy finger for the win. I love this Richele. So good. And then she's got that stripe design inside and then it's cut away. So this design is cut away to reveal this layer. And I just think isn't that cool? I mean, it's such a great effect because you think, oh wait, this is just kind of put on the top until you realize that the edges around it are not actually the tree edges. It's not on top. It's this whole patchwork edge all the way around. So it changes colors. And that's what I think is so unique about this particular technique instead of saying, oh, I'm just going to, you know, put on the green. And you could do it that way as well. But that's just a very cool way you create it. And then the back is just that wonderful plaid because it goes with everything. But she also just followed the plaid design and did a little quilting on there, little stitch, just following the horizontal and vertical lines. And then we've got these wonderful minty straps that go with the tree. And then inside, come on, see? That's why when you start looking at the designs, you're like, okay, I'm just going to pick some favorites. And then when you see it all, you're like, they're kind of all favorites, which goes back to the whole fat quarter thing. It's just, it is great. I agree. Tami said perfect for a shopping tote. It's great. I love the design. So as always, yeah. And this is pretty much like, you know, in the final hour and I'm like, hey, Richele, wouldn't it be great? And she's like, yep, I got it. I mean, Richele can sew like I can eat candy. Quick and efficient. Yeah. Look at that. That's beautiful. I love the design. I love seeing it on the fabrics as well. Because, you know, you see the designs, but then when you see how all the designs really work together in a cohesive piece, you get it, right? You do. I absolutely love that. Beautiful bag. All right. So Paula created this. Take a look at this. So everyone was saying Mario needs a hat. Well, he's about to have one. Look at this wonderful, soft, fuzzy Santa hat that Paula created. Canvas cloth, quilted around there, and then just that soft little ball, and of course that little fluffer on the edge, and then she's got that minty stripe on the inside. Isn't that just, that cicuta. So Mario will wear
I
that at the
tried
end.
it
You'll
on
be,
as
you'll
soon
be
as
able to
came
see
here.
it. Did you?
It was too small.
Oh, it's too small?
Yeah, I got a big old
Well,
head.
it'll sit right on the top of his head. You'll be able to see it. It's cute. Really cool hat. But this, I mean, you'll see when I photograph this, because I did the photos for the blog. So you'll see all of these kind of lifestyle photos. It's fun to create that. But I like the fact that this is done out of canvas cloth, because this actually made a great decor piece. When I set up the shot, I'm like, heck, that's a cool just centerpiece, because it was rigid enough that it just kind of sits on its own. You can't really see on the side, but you'll see in the photo. But it was just rigid enough that you could form it because it was canvas, so it had life to it. And I was like, that would really be charming just on a table, and you had some greens coming out, or you had some candles. It's really, really, it was very cool how it was done. And I love the fabric that she chose, because it's got just a little bit of all of that festive goodness, the stripes, the music, and then just that soft fuzziness. Not fun? Beautiful. Great make. So thanks for making the hat, Pete, because I was like, we need a Santa hat. We do. I absolutely love that. Oh, see, Tami just said great tree topper. I always look up. It's like I always look up and see the same people commenting. That is great. Definitely a tree topper. But again, canvas cloth is also going to give you a little bit more rigidity in that fabric. So yeah, it holds its shape really well. Great make. Wonderful make. All right. So I'll show you this. Probably this will be another holder upper, but you'll see in the photo. Richele created a tree skirt, and she did a tree skirt last year. It was a lot of different pieces, and I'm like, can you just take like sections of the fabric and create a tree skirt? So I love how Richele just used all of the different fabrics in Holidays Past, used sections of them just to create the coolest tree skirt ever. I love it because, see, again, it's all, I told you, it's going to be about the tape. When you see it used and you see it on the fabrics, it just adds such a great detail. But I love how she just used all of the design for what it was. Didn't have to do any additional piecing other than each individual section, which is still a great deal of work. But I love how this all came together, because it really does show how all the fabrics will work together in this collection. And then the back, she just used the 108 quilt back for the whole backing. So there again, if you like the idea of this, but you're like, hey, I'm not gonna, see there's a pine needle from when I took a photo outside, because I did lay it under a pine tree in the front yard. If you're thinking, you know what, I love this, but I'm not gonna go in and do all of the piecing. That's the great thing about the 108 inch, because all the collage is just done. This is just the fabric as it is, and you can quilt it. So this is not pieced, it's the design. So I think that 108 is really going to give you also a whole other opportunity of, hey, I want to get into sewing, I want to do a table runner, but I'm not into the whole piecey thing. There you go. Just get the 108, cut it out to what you want to do some quilting. It's all about how you want to stitch it and the pattern that you want to create on that. Add yourself a little binding to the edge and you're good to go. So I also love that she incorporated that for the back, because it shows some great options when it comes to that. Yeah, you're right, P. It makes it reversible. So cool. See, it's just really nice when you see it all. And there's something really about that shape too that's pleasing to the eye for me. I love it. I absolutely love it. So beautiful. See, like, look at that little sticker right there. See, that's just part of something we had for ideology. I just love the idea of the label, that little stain. All of those details kept in the fabric just makes it magical, isn't it? Oh, so good. Beautiful. Mara's like, oh, you can wear that. No, don't wear that. But like I said, Richele loves to sew, and she sews all types of things. So she's like, can I make a dress? I'm like, sure. Truth is, when we would go to Quilt Market, we actually used to use small dresses and small vests and bow ties that Richele would create to showcase the fabric. So typically people would have fabric hanging and we would have little clothing, little outfits on the wall for each of the fabric designs. And she would be making like 18 little dresses or vests and bow ties. And so I love the fact that she did actually make a dress. So you can see, I'll put it this way just so maybe you can see it in its entirety, just using that toile that she did, the little collar, and then of course in the back it has just a charming little bow. out of just some wonderful, it's a wonderful lush ribbon. Yeah. Isn't that great? Little sleeves. So cute little Christmas dress. I think that, because it is very cute. I think that toile is perfect. It's perfect for a little dress. So yeah, I was happy that she made that. I think that's really great, because one idea sparks another, and that to me is always the thing about creativity. That, and even as a maker, because when Richele talked about this, she's like, I just want to make a dress. I'm like, no problem. She goes, I just think it would be cute. I said, I do too. I think the idea is going to be great. But then this idea sparked her to do another one, because then she texted and she's like, all right, now I'm totally into the little clothes. I think that the clothes are great. Where do you see what she did? I mean, little pajama bottoms. Take a look at these cute little pajama bottoms that she did out of flannel. So we have that wonderful, soft, fuzzy flannel with these pajama bottoms. And then she made, I mean, come on. She made coordinating slippers. Come on.
So sweet.
Come on, look at these little slippers. So look at these. So again, out of flannel, she made coordinating little quilted slippers. And look at these. Look at that metallic cork on the bottom. I mean, how magical is that to have little pajamas and slippers? Oh my gosh. I just said to her, I'm like,
So cute.
it's so cute. I said, Richele, you're going to get in like the little PJ slipper business, because anyone with little kids or grandkids, they're going to be like, okay, I need this size, I need this size. Because they're just, besides, I mean, flannel, so it's so cozy, but how cute really are these designs? And you could totally mix and match too. That's the beauty of working with the fabrics. But it was just, it just brought such a smile to my face when Mario brought these in. I'm like, are you kidding me, with the little slippers and the little pajama bottoms? Yeah. So see, she made the dress, and then I guess all she could think about were, yeah, little slippers and pajamas. I mean, seriously, I don't know. I'm sure I'm not alone, but anytime I see little kid shoes, baby shoes, like a little mini Converse, whatever, I'm like, what is it about that tiny little thing that just makes it so cute? It just is, right? Absolutely. I love it. So good. So clever. And so talented. I mean, she just keeps adding projects to her list. That's what Richele does. All right. We're going to get into the pillows. And there's a lot of different pillow ideas. And that's the other thing that I love about working with Paula and the makers, because certainly we want to showcase ideas, but we want to showcase just different ideas for you, especially if you sew and quilt already, but maybe you're looking for some different ideas. I love this pillow that Paula created. It's a pocket pillow. So I love that she's got, first you can see the back. There's that poinsettia. And then on the front, it's got that wonderful pocket. She used a Sizzix die to die cut the letters. And she did this for Halloween in laboratory as well. So I love that she took that idea. Again, often when there's ideas, we try to do them both for the season. So maybe if, one season didn't strike you, maybe you're like, oh, I love that idea. That's a great use for that, that technique of cutting felt out of the dies. But then this little pocket, you can do this with a lot of things. So you can have this say whatever you want. So you could put your Christmas cards in there, but I love how she has a couple of books. So maybe if this is going to be a gift, or you're having company or whatever, I love the idea of just putting either some children's books, or maybe if this is for yourself, you put in your favorite little holiday magazine for inspiration. But I love that idea of having a pillow with pockets that could either hold books or magazines, because I think that's really, really clever. A great way to do this. This is not a Biggs die. This is a thinlet. Yeah, this is a thin die, and it actually has the outline. So even that white outline is also part of the die. So this isn't like a solid white and a solid red. It's red, and then that white is outline, because you can die cut through felt with a thinlet. So there you go. I think that's really cute. Love the idea of really books or magazines or anything in that pocket. And then you could even, you can personalize this. If this was a gift for someone, you can have their name or anything on there. Absolutely cute. Beautiful. Love that idea for the pillow. This next pillow, look, I'll be honest, when I saw it, I'm like, oh, Paula texted me a picture. I'm like, it's the cutest pillow I've ever seen. I love this. This speaks to the 5-year-old in my imagination. is like my favorite. So here you've got this wonderful music. So this is what I was saying about the typography of this fabric. So see how like traditional sheet music has almost like a tight font, and when I found this vintage holiday music, it's all written, and I loved it. I love the whole written font. I'll even show on the back just so you can see all the different songs and the tape. But I really love how she just created a bow. This is, so the pillow is out of cotton, and this of course is flannel around the bow. And so she just made, well, like a little package, and then did that little tag where she wrote on there. Look at that handwriting, amazing. Just added canvas and then did some red stitching, a little eyelet, and then pinned it on. Do not open till Christmas. What a great decor idea, isn't it? It's just so cute just to see that. So I love this pillow. Yeah, I put this on the couch, put it under the tree, right? Do not open till Christmas. Really clever. So that's another idea. Just think about this. Even if you weren't going to make the pillow, you're like, you know what, I'm not going to make the pillow. I don't want to do that. This idea in itself, maybe you have fabric, maybe you have scrap, maybe you are just going to go and actually get, you know, a strip of a 1/4 inch yard where you have, you know, a 9x44. Just taking a pillow that you buy and dressing it up by creating this bow and this strap and personalizing it, that's still kind of like upping a make. It's no different than like getting cards, pre-made Christmas cards, and just adding a little personal touch. So I love the idea as well. You can make your own pillow, or you can just create that bow to put on there. Just a great idea. So see the pocket pillow and the gift pillow, it's clever ideas. So really, really charming. All right. Then the next pillow that Paula did, she was busy, is I really wanted this shown, because I think that when you see it, it sets it apart a little bit different. So I love that she's got just kind of like this. I think this would be great in a chair, little neck pillow or back pillow. I love that she's got the plaid on the back. This is all done out of cotton. Look at how she did that piping out of the green, so it just looks like a candy cane going all the way around. But this is what I was really wanting to showcase, which is taking the collage fabric, any of them, and then actually doing the quilting around just a few elements. So if you weren't into piecing, if you weren't into doing that, this is about taking a design and just quilting around some of it. Doesn't mean you have to do it to all of it, but you can see like around these botanical cards, she just went in and quilted around there. And you could do a matching thread, you could do a contrasting thread, but I love the idea of just isolating a few elements in the quilting process, because it adds a whole different nuance to this. Especially, I mean, I'm sure the camera's picking it up just like that, but when you're holding it, I mean, you can actually feel that it's a little puffy, like a little raised. I think that's very, very clever. I love the whole idea when it comes to creating it, that you can utilize the fabrics for what they are in totally different ways. So yeah, I think the quilting idea is great. And even if you're not going to do a pillow, same idea if you were going to make, well, let's just take it back to a card or a journal cover, anything. Cut a bit of fabric, put some batting in, warm and natural, whatever, and then just quilt a couple of elements, and then it looks like you've done all that patchwork piecing, and you didn't. I think it's really great. Love it. Beautiful. Okay, we're stacking up. Very cool. Thanks, Mario. All right, where do you see this next one? This next pillow, Patty made, and they're just so cute. And when Paula's like, we've got this pattern, but you know, Patty's going to attempt it, and Patty did an amazing job. Look at this pillow of all of these quilted little gift boxes. I love how they pop out on black, right? Just seeing a little bit of that, and you could use cracked shadow, you can use provisions with that, but I just think all of these little gift boxes with the bow, I just think it made such a great little block pillow, right? So good. And it does really pop on black. And we were talking about that, and she's like, I don't know, the black, I think we really need it. But it turned out, I think it just turned out amazing. Isn't that cute? And I also love really that whole vertical quilting that goes all the way down, because it really makes each one of these little gifts have its own personality. And you can see even the smallest of detail of the fabrics, whether that's the music or a little bit of that plaid. There's toile, there's that juniper berry that's in just that collage right there. There's so many different elements you can pull out. intentional or not. I think that's another great idea, but just all these little presents are great. So when we were talking about this, I'm like, this idea is so cute. Obviously, you would need to know how to sew and know how to quilt and kind of create all of these different elements. But I think, you know, the black provisions really make it stand out. Let me get this thread out. This is black provision. So you can see like the staining of that. Provisions is like the solid line of Eclectic Elements, and it's kind of all grungy, inspired by distress. But it gives it a little bit more of a faded look to it. But when we were talking about this, I'm like, I just think that the detail is really clever. Could she like work on some other little, just highlighting the gifts? So take a look at these ideas that Patty did as well. I think that's great. And that is taking the design for what it is, making just a block, and then framing it. So imagine, you know, obviously if you're going to do all this work, it would be something for yourself or somebody you really cared about because you're making this so many times. But once you got this down, making that little block, there's a little ideology on there, little tag, doing some sewing in the back, again, taking a little sentiment from this fabric and putting it in a frame, and now they have a handmade gift. So you can create that, you can take an idea, especially if you're a quilter, take a design that you like, and even if you want to scale it, you want to make it bigger where, you know, maybe you don't want to do the block and do all the quilting. Maybe you just want to take the fabric pieces and just stick them down and sew around it. You can do that too. You can make it as complex or as simple as you want, whatever scale you want to do. But the idea of taking fabric and just framing it, I think makes for a great gift because again, you don't put the glass in there. This way they're going to get all that touchy feel. This one is quilted, so this one's got a little squish to it, and this does not. This is just fabric right onto the board, but I think it just very clever. Look at that background fabric too. Cute. So a great idea, a great way. I think that this really gives you the visual of, okay, this is a cool pattern, a cool idea, and I'm going to make this, but oh, wait a minute. I'm going to take this idea and make a bunch of little gifts. Same idea. Or, hey, now I'm going to do this. Yeah, the ideology tiny bells that we even saw on Paula's make. I just think that they are charming. All right. Love that idea. So many ideas. It's crazy. We have a few more pieces. Bring them in. Then we've got some big ones. Very cool. All right. Take a look at this. Wow. This one, I'll probably have to switch cameras just to show, but it's very cool. Look at this. Look at this pillow that I'm going to squish it down. It's like a nice fluffy, like, look at that fluffy down pillow. Richele created this pillow. Absolutely beautiful with that star. I love how she's got the tree in the center from clippings. I love that she just took a solid cream fabric just to really, I think, isolate the design and create this. It's so beautiful on this big, and this is a big pillow. But I love all of the different piecing, the different fabrics that Richele chose, all the different reds and creams in there to really isolate the clippings. I also love she's got Visit from Santa Claus right in there, Christmas Remembrance. So you can kind of select the areas that you want from the clippings. And then she's got, just really shows off the quilting by having that wonderful solid cream. And then all of the little patchwork pieces going all the way around of more of the fabrics that have the green in it. So you've got, you know, the red, the cream, and then the green. Of course, that black just adds a little bit of contrast. And then we have the piping going all the way around with that little minty stripe. Isn't that great? So then the back of the pillow, again, collage. You can take your favorite collage fabric. So this would be this particular design, but you can do canvas cloth or you could do 108s. We've already talked about that as well. I just think, you know, when it comes to especially design, you think, well, gosh, a pillow, what are you going to do? There's 2 pieces of fabric and zippity-doo. But there's a lot of ways that you can make a pillow completely unique and totally personal, whether you want to include a pocket or little gifts or wrap it in a bow or, you know, just dazzle them with your quilting skills as Richele did here. Just is beautiful, isn't it? So good. Just amazing to see what everyone does. So we have some other things. I'm going to switch cameras because they're bigger pieces. I'm going to do my best to kind of hold up, so give me just a second.
Great job.
All right, that was good. All right, so we've got some other things. I'll just talk about those. Of course, Richele also created this tote. We love seeing totes from Richele, so thanks, Richele, for just making and making and making. But take a look at this quilted holiday tote. I mean, come on. When you talk about all of those collage pieces and then that wonderful matching plaid. And I love that the bottom, like the bottom piece, it's has like chipboard in there. So it's kind of a solid piece. So the bag just stays open. Got that. Look at that. So good. Look at the plaid sides. Come on. I love this, Richele. The side, of course, has pockets, quilted, pocket. Yeah, love that tote. It's really, really cool. Absolutely beautiful. So that is a tote that Richele did. Now we're going to share the quilt that Kulbir created. So Mario, if you want to give me, it's big. So if you go on, like I said, after this live and you go on timholtz.com, there'll be photos there. But Kulbir created this quilt, so we're just going to, all right. Here, we're going to put this side down. Here we go. I'll give you this edge. I'll give you this edge, and we'll pull it out. There you go. Okay, here. No, hold it like that.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes.
Cool. So that is Kulbir, and I'm going to try to hold it as close as I can. Well, can you bring your edge in? There we go. So take a look at how she has all of the different trees. We'll move on my side. Look at that. Look at these blocks. I mean, I'll isolate this one because I'm making myself dizzy. My gosh. Okay, let's do this one. There we go. You don't need to see my face. Take a look at that. I love all the fabrics that she created together just to make all these wonderful trees. You want to hold that? Thanks. Just bring that up. I mean, this thing it's massive. Kulbir would probably know the final measurement, but I love this design. I love this pattern. I love that we have the trees on there and just all of the different blocks of fabric. It's absolutely beautiful. The quilting on it is amazing. I love, again, going around the edge with that wonderful little minty stripe. And then we have on the back, the quilt back. So we'll flip it around so you can see the little 108. That's really
beautiful.
Isn't that cool? It's so beautiful. Here, let's hold it up like that. There we go. Perfect. Nice. I know I'm moving it around. It is, I'm telling you, we don't do a lot of quilts in live because it's very hard to display and showcase a quilt because it's like, are you close? Are you far? But even that 108, like, that's magic. Absolutely, absolutely beautiful. So if you're a quilter, I'm sure like when it comes to the pattern, oh, I just noticed this. Look at all that. Look at that stitching detail around the tree. The time for quilters, just like, oh my gosh, each tree has that stitching around it. Wow, that's beautiful. Kulbir, that's amazing. Here, let's do kind of the bottom half. Let's fold this down. There we go. Everything's crooked and backwards. Here, let's hold, there we go. Like I'm going one way, Mario's going the other way, and can you tell we're making ourselves dizzy? Because it's backwards here. There you go. Beautiful. Great job. Yeah, amazing. When you hold it back, it's like, that's only half. Like it's folded in half. This thing is massive. Yeah, and Kulbir's here. I have no idea how long this took to make. I'd be curious, but from what I hear, really, for people that I need to adjust my mic. It's driving me crazy. From what I hear, those that like to quilt, those that know how to quilt, can quilt like nobody's business. They can just do it and be like, we got this. We got this pattern. We got it down. It's really amazing. I know I see everyone like, I want that quilt. Oh, see, I did it again. It's because I trip on my mic cord. Anyway, pretty amazing, right? That's just, I think people that have that skill, amazing. But what I have learned in this, oh, thanks, Kulbir, like really magic. The thing that I've learned in designing fabric for as long as I have, that it is a skill that you can do and get better at, like anything else that you do. So at first I was incredibly intimidated by it, but I mentioned this before. Diane was here visiting us, and she's like, we're going to sit down and actually make, I mean, it wasn't very big, but I did have to piece it together. I had to do the binding around the edge and do the quilting, and it was a lot of thought, which I think if you did it more, it would become easier for you. But my point is, don't be intimidated by trying something new. You should be inspired to do it. And I I'm always inspired by the makers that create this, and it's so cool to see a collection used so many different ways, from owls to stocking garlands to advent calendars to all that. So I want to hold up Paula's calendar. Do you have it?
Oh, yes,
You've got it right there?
I've got it right
Thanks.
here for you.
Thanks, Mario. Just so you get a better look of the scale of it, because I mean, yeah, it's quite big. So see? Cool, right? Here, there we go. Trying to correct. Yeah, isn't that cool? Beautiful.
25 gift cards.
Yeah, and all those little cards. I know, 25 gift cards. There you go. It's going to be filled up. But so much inspiration. So again, a shout out to the makers for creating amazing things, bringing the fabrics to life, and a shout out to the team at Free Spirit for really allowing the ideas that we would do on paper, on designs, to bring it all together for this Holiday Past collection. I think it's absolutely amazing.